Okay, everybody, I think we're going to start. The Q&A will be recorded as usual, so for everybody who can't join now. First and foremost, I want to start with our new project, the basic course for beginners. Before you ask your questions, I will tell you all the informations we have right now, and afterwards you can ask your questions. Maybe some of your questions will already be answered by then. So, what will this course be about? It will be a basic course. We will set it up on Whoop because Whoop is a very nice platform for that. There will be several lessons, and each lesson gets its own topic. For each lesson, for each topic, we have unique PDFs, video material, live setups, charts that show the concept we are talking about. And in the end, there will be a small quiz, which makes sure you completely understand what we are talking about. Then you can move on to the next course. So this will be structured like basically like how should I say? Like a school lesson where you have different topics. You finish the quiz, you get access to the next topic. You finish the quiz, you get access to the next topic. And each topic will be filled with material and useful stuff. And in the end, you will receive a certificate, and with this certificate, you can apply for our school. More or less, we will set up a little school inside of the server. Please mute your microphone, otherwise I have to mute it for you. Thank you. And you will get access to weekly calls where we talk to you, where you can answer your questions. These classes will be limited, so once you have your certificate, you finish the course, you can apply with this certificate. The first ones who finish the course will get access, 20 people for each course. The course will take 1 month, and in the end you will get access to a premium section for another month, where you can talk to more advanced traders and other traders in general, which have different ideas than us and different knowledge than us and made different experiences. And so, yes, this is what the basic course is about. Just to sum it up, it will be different lessons. Within these courses, there will be risk management. We will talk about market structures, how candlesticks are built, the buying and selling. Please mute your microphone, mister. Thank you. Buying and selling, and what the order book is about, what are order blocks, breaker blocks, what is supply and demand, position management, how to trade your stop loss, where to place your stop loss. We will talk about the mental game, how to avoid the most common traps like analysis paralysis or all that stuff. And in the end, there will be a section where we combine all of this knowledge and teach you step by step how to trade the money tower strategy. And as said, in the end, if you finish all of that, you get a certificate, and with this certificate you can apply for the class, which is made out of 20 people, and those 20 people get weekly calls with us. And after that, you get a 1 month free access to the premium Discord. All right, guys. So this is what I wanted to tell you. If you still got questions about this course, you can ask them now. You can ask them with your microphone. You can speak to me. Please not all at once, or you just write it into the chat. Exactly like Albert says, question, needs, and if you have wishes or improvements, tell us. You can also ask about some charting stuff. So this is not just a Q&A about the course. It's also a Q&A for general trading questions and everything. Yeah, thank you, Albert. When will it start? We are planning to launch it in 2 weeks. As I'm working full time, will that be suitable for me? Yes, it will be. You can take all the time you need to finish the courses. And as said, if you finish them step by step, you always have a quiz in the end where we make sure you fully understand what we told you. And in the end, after you finish all the lessons, you get the certificate. With that, you can apply for the class. If you buy the course, you will always be suitable for the class, but only the ones that finish or the ones that finish first, they're of course the first ones who will be in the class. What is the cost? We don't have a price for that yet because it's not finished and we are not sure how much work it will be. But we will tell you, of course, before we launch. How long will each lesson be? It depends on the topic. Some topics will take more time, of course. So other topics are quite simple. We try to give you as much detail as possible. The basic course is, of course, not for advanced traders or the ones who already really understand all of these things. So we will go in depth into these topics. For example, market structure will probably be a big part because usually there's a lot of confusion around that with all the different time frames and stuff like that. And also market structures includes fibs because a fib is nothing else than a tool to measure a range or a swing. So this topic will be a big one. Other topics, probably the candle topic won't be as big because yeah, the candle structure is actually quite easily explained, even though I guess most people could use a little more basic knowledge about candles and how they're formed and built and what a body what's the difference between a wick and a body and all that and how it's created. So each topic will be exactly as long as it needs to be. Are the materials PDF videos, I presume, will not be downloadable? So will we have LMS? I'm not quite sure what that means. Have access for lifetime. What if the platform is taken down? We haven't thought about that, to be honest. But we can probably make it downloadable. So the PDFs and the videos. It's a good question. That's right. We have to think about it, but what you said makes sense because if you buy it and, for example, Whoop goes bust and you have no access to all this anymore, and we had a lot of students, it gets kind of hard in the end to determine who really bought it and all this. So yeah, we will probably make it downloadable, so you can save it and read it as often as you want, or watch it as often as you want. So in order to get the class in the end, one has to finish the basic course and the first 20 to finish will be in the class. I was in a work meeting in parallel, so I might have missed. Yes, that's right. So if you finish within the first 20 people, you're in the first class. If you finish after that and you apply with your certificate, you will be in the second class. And if it's filled, you will be the third class and so on. Depending on how many people will apply, you might be in the first, second, third class. But everyone who buys the course, finishes it, gets the certificate, will be in one class in the end for sure. How many hours will the course take to complete approximately? This is very hard to tell because it all depends on how fast you work it through, and we are not finished yet, as said. We just wanted to teaser you because we wanted to make sure people are really interested in that, because it's going to be, or it is, a lot of work already. But yeah, as said, I have no clue how long it will take. It also depends on how fast you read and how good you understand that. You can finish the quiz in the end. We will see. Are there going to be channels, groups for the students where we will regularly posting updates? And if so, what impact do you see that having on the existing group channels? I guess my only worry is that seeing the course that could be diminish what's going on here. Yes, that's also a good question. That's why we want to have these quizzes in the end, because this makes sure people really understand the basics, because we want to have the quality of the premium group high. We want to have we want to leave the premium group for dedicated and advanced traders. That's why the quiz, that's why the 1 month class lesson in the end, which should make sure that people are on a certain level to understand what's going on in the premium group, and then they can have a look 1 month into the premium group. And the whole basic course will be on Whoop, and there will be a second channel, or on the server there will be a separate channel only for this basic course class. It will have nothing to do in the beginning with the premium group. What's the expected lag time between classes? Yeah, the class takes 1 month, so it should be 1 month, and the second class should be right after that. So there should be no lag in between. But as we haven't any experience with that yet, I can't tell you for sure, but we do not plan to have a lag in between. Approximately date where you plan to launch? Yeah, as said, in 2 weeks. In about 2 weeks. It's gonna be definitely below $1,000. Yeah, as said, so everybody is more or less on the list because we decided to do this via Whoop, because otherwise we can't structure it as good, because we have both no experience in programming a website, and Whoop does this actually quite well. And so we set up this course on Whoop. Everybody can apply immediately. Once it launched, you can start going through all the material, do the quiz, and then you are set up for the class. A lot of green today, as it seems. Since people are on different levels, so some may be able to complete the quiz straight away, so PvP for slots. Yeah, that's actually that's true. But I mean, for people who are already familiar with all of these concepts, I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do the basic course, because the basic course is it's a beginner course basically. So yeah, if somebody wants to prove all of his knowledge without looking at the material and buys this course, of course he can, and he can immediately finish the quiz. But yeah, that's not the. I mean, that's not the reason why we launched this course. If somebody wants to do that, that's fine, and we can't block such people. But in the end, as said, this course is really for beginners, and all the material will also be very boring for people who already know that. So yeah, everyone should know for himself if he wants to do that or not. Did you ask a question, Mr. Cool, or did you just unmute yourself by accident? I take this as a yes. Will you be offering any long-term discounts for the Discord for people who have completed the course and got the certificate? Yeah, if you got the certificate and you bought the course, you will have a place in the lesson and the classroom for sure, and you will also get access after the class for 1 month for free in the premium section. So this is definitely for sure. If you did that, if you have the certificate, you are already in, and it doesn't matter if you're in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth class, it doesn't matter. It's always the same for everybody, but we can take more than 20 students at once because we want to ensure that the quality is as high as possible. And we talked about it and we said 20 people is probably more than enough because we want to have weekly Q&As and all that. And with more than 20 people, we think that the quality will suffer. Yeah, it's a beginner course. We dive in all basic concepts that are really important for trading, and in the end, the last section will be the complete money tower edge, how we traded, and what we learned from him. But you need all the basic concepts like risk management, market structure, how candle forming, buying and selling, order blocks, breaker blocks, supply and demand, how to manage your positions. All of that will be in the course, and in the end, we combine all that into the money tower strat, and with all the basic knowledge, you should be able to understand it then. Aman must dance. Yeah, I've read your question. Um, Sorry, I've almost missed you, BotXD. I start with you. I'm handling it like I wrote. It's on break even. My first TP will probably in this area, in the supply area here, because I like money and I like to lock in some gains. And also we're going to hit the ETH BTC supply soon, the upper supply. We're going to hit the demand here. So I'm also a supply here, and it's very close. So I'm kind of expecting a little retracement from here. I want to lock in some gains, maybe add on a pullback somewhere mid time frame, low time frame. We will see. And yeah, if I locked in some gains, I have some money to deploy again should the market retrace. And if not, it's only a partial profit, and I'm still having many other longs. Okay, now to you, Aman must dance. I study Monitor since late 23. And before, I'm in the market since, more or less since 2020. But yeah, I wouldn't say I was a trader back there. But I made some money, I lost some money. I called the market a scam by just doing some very, very dumb investments. But I was lucky and I made it back. Gained interest in the market because of GME, to be honest. And then I came to crypto. And then I made some money with ADA, and then I lost it, and then I made back again. And all that stuff. And then I didn't touch it until 2022. This is also when I started my world trip. And I quit my job, and I had a job before which made me a lot of money, and I didn't spend anything there. So I went basically all in the market in 2022, into stocks and into Bitcoin. Mostly 90% of my crypto holdings were Bitcoin because I didn't trust anything. I'm a little paranoid from nature, but this is really a blessing in the market. And then I made some good money with Bitcoin and all these bear market buys, which made me more and more. And I studied the market. I Ever since I came into the market, I never stopped studying, and everything I did was more investment related. And then again, interest in trading, and I never took a trade before. And then my first trade was a short actually, which almost got liquidated because I was a smart ass and didn't use a stop loss. And I always had good sources, to be honest. Also back there, I mean, yeah, I told you I didn't use a stop loss, so the sources might be not as good, or at least I didn't take advice as I should. But the next few months, I really started to commit really into trading, and then I found Lucky, Chart Ape, and then I found Money Tower, and I saw that those two guys are probably one of the few who really knew what they were talking about. And then I studied those concepts and all those basic concepts, supply and demand, order blocks, all that. So I basically started with very good knowledge from the beginning, and that was probably partially luck, but also my paranoia that I usually don't trust people that easily, especially not in the internet. And so I only listened to those two guys, and this made me start out quite well from the beginning. Spector, will there be examples such as current charts and how to use money tower strategies? Yes, of course. Yeah. So back to my ETH long, I'm probably gonna TP somewhere something like 35 or 40% up there. Yeah, I hope Albert is writing everything down I'm saying. So we have like 20 to 30 pages long PDF for people to read it afterwards. How will you manage different time zones? Yeah, that's a good question. That's a really good question because time zones are really tricky in trading. We actually live in two different time zones already, and we thought about asking someone who is already on our level to help us with that, who's maybe living in another time zone. But we haven't got a big solution for that yet. Maybe these calls will be not at the same time every day, so that different people can join at different times. But we don't have the perfect solution for that. But we will have before the launch, of course. How long will this course run? I guess you mean how long will it be available? It will be, yeah, for now it's open end. We will run it as long as we can and as we want. For now we are really motivated. And the course will always be available on Whoop anyway, and our classes will be available probably for the whole year at least. Um, and so, yeah, it's a hard one to answer, but we're not planning to stop this anytime soon because we actually have a lot of fun doing this. 2 minutes until the opening. Let's hope something is happening. Tax evasion, yeah, that's a big one. No, this is what you're talking about. I mean, of course, manage high time frame position, month years, when to only head short, when to take partial TP, short TC. Yeah, this is of course part of the position management. But as said, we're talking about a basic beginner's course here. And text evasion is usually something for people who are a little more advanced. So to answer your question, yes, it will be part of it. It always depends on your level because as said, it's a beginner's course. But of course, it's part of position management. Yeah, that's also a valid question, Spectre. How will it be different? I can't tell you for sure because I'm not into those discords. I mean, I can only tell you what we offer, and we offer a real community which is answering to your questions, to your needs. It's not just a course where you will get the information because in the end, as said, we will have this class, we will have weekly calls, and you can all ask your questions. You will improve during the week or make mistakes during the week, and you maybe want to reflect on them, and we will be here to guide you through that. How to determine market structure in higher time frame versus mid-low time frame, like when to switch bearish and bullish buys. Yeah, that's a tough one, and it's not so easily explained. I actually did a market structure live stream, but it's in the premium section. In the basic course, it will be a big part, as said, probably one of the bigger ones because market structure is a big one. What are ranges, swings, how to measure swings, ranges, all that. Pull the fibs right. So yes, market structure will probably be a big one. Slick, in the end, if you got time, I can talk about market structure for a few minutes. But let's wait how many questions we have. If there is some time left, I can, of course, talk a little bit about that. It's a basic course, but the last section is advanced, which is the one that includes Tower's Edge. Did I get it correctly? Yes, you did. This is probably it. This is basically it. To be honest, all of that is a little advanced because you need to be able to stomach all of that, to stomach all the information, to bring it all together in your head. And of course, Tower's Edge is advanced. And the thing is, the thing that makes it really difficult is usually not that people don't understand what they need to do. It's the difficulty that most people have, the struggle, the thing that most people struggle with is that people don't do it when they should do it because the mental game blocks them in some way, because they're FOMOing, because they're paralyzed, all that. So the basic course should make sure that you really understand all of these concepts, that you really understand the basic, at the base of a strategy, like at the base of the charts, market structure, all that. And then we combine everything for the refined monitor edge because all of these concepts like breaker blocks, auto blocks, they have been there before. But what he did was to combine everything together and to refine it to his own unique edge, and he shared it with us. And yes, the last section will be about that. And if you understand all the basics, you will understand the edge as well. If you have a hard time understanding the basics, of course, the edge will also be harder to understand and more advanced. It all depends on your level. And as said, we can give you all the information. We can give you the whole chart, how the whole chart is structured, how to find the levels, all that. Execution is the hard part, as you wrote. So yeah, in the end, it's all advanced because trading is the hardest part to make money from the market. If you're a good investor, if you are patient, you can buy at higher time frame lows in the bear markets, and then you can sell at higher time frame premium. But this will take, of course, a lot of time in between, and it's not gonna make you rich with a small portfolio. Trading has this potential, but trading itself is already an advanced way to handle the market. How well have you and Albert performed when BTC hit 74K, not 72, and for future levels in Elite Fuckery games? Yeah, I don't want to praise myself too much, but I was probably one of the only few ones, besides Money Tower and some others, that really caught this whole move and I was really exposed already because so many majors hit. Many got front run, many sat there on the sidelines, as I wrote in my post yesterday. So as I said, I don't want to praise myself too much, but yeah, I caught this move quite good, and I'm pretty happy with this whole swing. And yeah, I understand this is probably also what you said about executing, finding levels, executing what the market is at and where it's going and adapting. The thing is, there will never be certainty. You will always trade probabilities, and the sooner you accept that, the better. And if you know it's probabilities, you don't need to wait for the perfect level, because if you have a lot of confluences, let's say a 70% hit of all your majors you're tracking, and there's only one left, and this is maybe a big one, of course. BTC is one of the biggest majors, but if you have 70% hit, why would you only be exposed 10%? If the likelihood that this is the reversal is already at 70%, in my opinion, you should already be 50% exposed at least. And if you want to play it safe, but you can also go up to 60-70% exposure with a 30% cash. And this is just fluid thinking, probabilistic thinking. This is part of the mental game in the course. And of course, we will talk about this. And yeah, we will have some mental hand strategies and all that. And you need to adapt your thinking. You need to go away from this linear thinking of if A then B. No, if A and B and C and D and a little bit of this and a little bit of that will give you the result of 70% likelihood, and that's why you are exposed to 50 to 70% already. This is a very fluid way of thinking, and people usually want to have a clear and easy answer, but as we all know, the market doesn't give you these answers very often. Yes, Albert is like the TradFi Slayer, and he, as far as I know, he's playing the Ducks with the Tower Edge very, very well. And of course, the beginner's course will not just be crypto. We will have several examples on several different markets and assets, because some things work better in some markets and other things work better in other markets. And once you start trading different markets, you will see that very clearly. Sometimes these hidden breaker blocks don't work as well, and on other markets they work insanely well. And then it's also on different time frames. You need different strategies, in my opinion. But yeah, this will all be part, and we will have examples on different markets. This will also be, there will be in the weekly calls, we will also leave you some exercises to do. This means, for example, study in which market, which level reacted the best. let's say in commodities, would you want to trade hidden order blocks? On stocks, what is better, hidden order blocks or supply and demand, and all that kind of stuff? Because you really need to think for yourself about this. But of course, we will also cover these topics. Will the course go over which majors to be watching and how best to view them? Yes, it will be part, but it's a very difficult topic because it always depends what you want to trade, on which time frame you want to trade it. But yeah, it's of course a big part of the money tower edge, and so it will be in the course. How to determine if and buy or sell program before seeing the results of a bullish bearish breaker blocks? Good question, tough one, because how could you know before? We are trading probabilities. But for example, if you see 3 bullish breaker blocks fail in a row, or let's say 2, 3 is a little bit over top, but let's say 2 on the way down, and your third one is on the same time frame, not a high time frame optimal level with 5 different major confluences, I would probably expect this one to fail as well. But yeah, as we don't trade certainties but probabilities, you cannot know before. You can only determine those probabilities. But as said, if you see on the way down all, like for example, you try on the first, you try on the second, and you see there's a lot of liquidity left below those breaker blocks, I wouldn't expect a big reaction from the third one. But usually those breaker blocks react in some fashion if you have some execution tactics, some advanced tactics. You can avoid taking a full stop, or you can get stopped out at break even. If you have a reaction, you can always get stopped at break even, and you can also always TP. But usually people don't TP because they wait for the biggest alt season of all time. They don't move their stop loss because they say, what if I get stopped at break even? They take the full stop and they say, oh damn, the level didn't work. But if you watch good traders, they TP, or they do at least remove the risk, or they have some kind of execution strategy which helps them, if the level is just not reacting at all, to don't pay a full stop or to don't enter at all. Yeah, the cost of the course, we haven't determined the cost of the course, as said in the beginning, because we don't know how much work it's going to be. We are not finished yet. We plan to finish in 2 weeks, and we also plan to launch a German version of this course, because all of these PDFs can easily be translated into German from us. And yeah, because we know a lot of our followers are actually Germans, and I can understand that many people have an easier time to learn this on their own language, in their own language. Do you use a stop loss when buy spot riding high time frame moves? How far can it be? If so, and where to place it? And what portfolio percentage per spot entry do you use? Is it usually sort of DCA on the move down? Could you please mute yourself if you don't have any questions? This would be nice. Yeah, of course, I always use a stop loss. So basically, every position, every position I take is a trade. So you always want to determine a stop loss. If it's a spot play, I usually only play spot on higher time frame key levels, and usually I play them pretty wide. Altcoins are a lot trickier to trade, but if you stay with the high volume ones, with besides XRP, they usually have clear market structure, and there will be a level where you look at and say, okay, good, or let's say a low. Let me look at it at an example. Do we have a good one? Yeah, for example, let's find a clean chart. This doesn't look too messy. Delete all that crap here. Come on. So we had I think it was a 2-month level for ETH. Yeah, let's look at that. And this is actually a prime example. We also had a discussion about this in the premium section, because this was kind of tricky. We had this 2-month level, but there is a lot of liquidity anyway, because we are not just looking at hidden levels. We also look at supply and demand rules, and we have a big demand here, higher time frame demand, and we have a demand here. So I've entered. What's all that crap here? Go away. Okay, so what's going on? So we had the 2-month hidden level within a 3-month order block, and this is obviously the key swing low. So this is pretty obvious to most people, I would say. And because this is our key level, this is also covering the market structure topic quite a bit. You see, if you want to enter a leverage position, your stop loss would probably look something like this. You entered within this hidden block, and your stop covers the whole FEG, potentially a little wider, whatever. I mean, it's still a 4% stop loss. It's a high time frame level, so it's all good. But for example, I tried along here, if I remember correctly. It didn't work so well. Next, so let's say I got stopped. I'm not quite sure if I did, or what I did with this position back then. It's quite a while ago, but I've entered spot here as well, and my spot trade looked more like this. And I usually play my spot plays with a soft invalidation. Why? Simply because I buy the coin and then I remove it from the exchanges, and I put it onto my wallet. So if I want to sell it, I need to send it to the exchange back. So I can't even use a normal stop. And I really want to see a close below this level. This never happened. I mean, a monthly close below this level would have probably let me cut, but this is a very difficult question because I bought here, I bought here, I bought here. My average is something like 1,800 for these spot buys, and it never closed below this key swing low. I'm not sure. On the weekly it also didn't. So there was never a reason to cut this, even though this wick, and I even bought on this wick just because the fear and the panic was so big. And of course, on a perp leverage position with a hard stop, my stop would have been hit. But as said, it's spot, and I always wait for closes, higher time frame closes. I mean, it's a higher time frame key level. It's a 3-month order block. I at least wait for a weekly close, and not even weekly close below this key swing low. So there was never a reason to cut this. If we wick into this level, I buy even more. I maybe try to long this as well. But this has nothing to do with my spot idea. I could also play it like this, but I mean, a 50% stop loss for maybe only range highs is a bit wide. So I like to have a tight invalidation also for my spot plays. Key swing low, wait for the close, no close below, no spot selling. And that's basically it. But every spot play, every trade, everything you buy or sell in this market is a trade, and it should always be have an invalidation. But that's why I separate my perp plays and my spot plays, because spot is for higher time frame targets. I wait for higher time frame closes. I don't get nervous on a daily close because there's a daily close below this key swing low for sure. You see, not even a full body, so not even here I would cut, but as said, higher time frame level, higher time frame idea, higher time frame closes. What are the signs you look for to find absorption? This is actually a little advanced. I will do a separate live stream for the premium members for that, because I don't want to confuse anybody, and this is really advanced stuff. Just so much. You see, we have a big, this is just also a prime example. This is a swing failure pattern here on the weekly. We drop here, we have a big wick, a small body on very high above average volume. So this all of here was absorbed, big buying pressure once this key swing low was taken. And by knowing that people were going to look at this and say, damn, we lose the structure, damn, we are going to go another 20% lower. Many people sold into this, panic sold, especially on the daily close probably, even though it wasn't a full body close. And this is prime absorption here. Big high volume, big absorption wick, small body. So yeah, this is prime absorption here, high time frame. Yeah, the course is going to be in English, and we also launch a German version. I'm not quite sure if we can manage to launch the German version in the beginning as well. If we can, we will probably start it together. We haven't talked about this actually, but yeah, we plan to launch both. Can you share your thoughts on Minotaur's post from yesterday? Need a trampoline, high time frame liquidity for powerful URS, and today's post, the might to trample in the Valley alt season. Sounds like he's looking for much lower, yet posting longs and potential UV fireworks. Just wondering if you and Albert have any clarity or insight. I mean, people usually do a little much interpretation into such posts. In my opinion, I'm not sure. I'm not in his head. I don't know what he's thinking. But for what I got out of this is that he's just talking about the basic concept of, if the coin is not taking any liquidity, if the coin is reversing and there is key liquidity below, the key liquidity acts like a magnet. If it's higher time frame key liquidity, or the higher the time frame, the more liquidity there will be. So the trampoline will be mightier, stronger, and so you can expect a bigger reversal out of that. So you don't full port long, spot long, all your money into a 1 hour breaker block. This should be common sense by now. But if it's, as I showed you on ETH, for example, 3 month, 2 month, hidden here also something, all of that, plus all the majors that hit, like Total 2, hitting this big demand here. Like, yeah, if everything hits together and it's higher time frame, you can expect way higher targets, and a realistic target from range lows is usually to range highs. And if the range highs break, you can expect higher targets. But until these highs get taken, we expect these highs. And the smaller the time frame gets, this is also some market structure stuff. The smaller the time frame gets, first of all, we're targeting this supply. You see it rejected from here. Now we maybe break out from here. So we're targeting these range highs. If those break, we have key levels here, supply area here, highs and supply area here. So we see it level by level, and we don't expect level hit full port to 2 trillion within 2 months. This is just not how the market works, even though people would like to have it like this because they all wish for 2021. but usually the market moves something like this, and this is why we long on pullbacks. Oh, oops, damn pencil. If we don't do this, that's why I don't like the pencil. Let's say we do something like this. It's just one possibility of many. Just because I draw this arrow here doesn't mean I'm thinking this is going to happen next. I'm just planning, and this is how you should do it as well. Because this is definitely one possibility, even though I don't think it's going to take so long. Please mute your microphone. Thank you. But it could also look like this. Into the supply here, only a small pullback. Then this, we do a swing failure pattern, we reject, we do a double top, and maybe we enter bear market from here, or we just go straight up. There's many possibilities. You just look at key levels, for example, these highs, here, hidden levels, all that, FIBs, price confluence, and you plan several ideas out in your head, and you determine which one is the most likely one by looking at sentiment, by looking at other majors, and then you have a certain probability for things to play out or not, and you manage your risk around those levels. You sell something here, you short something here. If this is a breakout, we usually don't long the breakout. We wait for some kind of pullback, maybe into liquidity, something like this. And of course, this could also happen. Anything is possible at any given time. And so what he's saying is just that the mightier the trampoline, the higher time frame the key level is, or the stronger, the more liquidity, the more confluence, the more majors, the bigger the bounces you can expect. This is why we scale in to spot plays around here, and we scale into spot plays around here, and everything in between are range trades, little swings, which you can bank on if you know what you're doing. But you don't expect from a mid-time frame level a big breakout to 2 trillion and you go all in on that. If you want to gain big exposure, you do it on higher time frame key levels, or here in the demand, and now everything in here should be treated as local range trades from key level to key level. The bigger the key level, the stronger the reaction. My pleasure, our pleasure, CryptoStone. We also really like that we have such a great community. Will the course explain the basics for leverage trading? Yes, this will be part of the position management, how you use your leverage, how high your leverage should be, how you determine your risk, because many people are still struggling to understand how they define their risk. Your risk should always be defined about but the money you lose. So if your portfolio, let's say your account is $10 and you want to or let's say it's $100 and you want to risk 1%, you risk $1, and this is not margin $1, it's your stop loss. If your stop loss gets hit, you will lose $1, and you can adjust your leverage as high as it means that this $1 is maximum 50% of your margin, return on equity. But there will be a lot of information about that as well in the position management part. Yeah, no problem. I mean, the Q&A is for questions, obviously, so bring them. I hope some of you caught these nice TradFi plays, because since I shared them, they're doing actually quite well. So Always remember there's more than just one market. What will be the main difference between the premium group and the course? The main difference will be that the course will be a step-to-step guide how to approach the market, how to approach the chart, how to approach position management and the money tower edge, while the group is more for a little advanced people who are already able to understand or trading on their own already, understand the basics, want to have some people to talk to, share ideas, share charts, share setups. And for what we have seen, new people and beginners really struggle to gain traction in such groups or in such communities because the amount of information and opposing signals and ideas is just very high, and there is no real guidance. So you will be there and you will have information from all directions at once from 50, 60, 70 people. So yeah, the beginners course will be a little more beginner friendly and will take you by the hand and step by step bring you closer to becoming a trader. Various indicators on the website. I'm not quite sure what website you're talking about, but even I've tried to market my own hobbies. There are so many. How to know which level to choose for buy and sell? Yeah, that's that's a good question. If you still struggle to read the chart correctly and to understand which supply and demand is the strongest, I would recommend to only stay on higher time frames, above daily or even above. Above daily is probably good advice, because the lower you get, the more opposing signals you get. But just for the course will of course cover all of that, but just so that you know the basic idea of that, let's say the hidden stuff is usually the refinement stuff. Let's see if I have a good example for you. So for example, this order block. Good example, better example would be nice. Let me check if I find something better. So this is also basic market structure stuff. So this whole area here is much more powerful than this whole area for two reasons. Don't go too deep into this, but it's very simple once you understand this basic concept. This is a order block. This is a supply area. If I go for different time frames, I will definitely find an order block here. There's also the hidden order block inside, which reacted in the beginning quite often. Then we took this high swing failure pattern, but here this supply is very strong because it has fib confluence, and it's not. This is actually the equilibrium of this whole range, which is a strong level itself already, and this is not. So this supply is not strong because it's in the discount of this whole higher time frame range, and the reaction or the FEG or the move that followed is not as strong as this one. Plus, we are at the equilibrium of the range, and the higher we come into the range, the stronger the supply levels get naturally, because premium means premium. Everybody wants to sell premium, at least whales want to sell premium. Retail usually wants to buy premium, and that's why this whole upper area is stronger than the lower area, and we have the strong reaction out of the supply, so this makes the supply also a little stronger as well. Plus we have some hidden stuff inside, and so on. What was this question about market structure? I can't find it anymore. If you're still here, I think you know. Did I mean you? Somebody asked about market structure. I can't find the question because I hope I answered it already, but if not, please let me know. General positionment question. We'll take ETH for example. What would be your current invalidation for ETH spot sub 1800? Yeah, that's actually kind of good question and pretty simple for me. So since this move, my stop loss is definitely a break even. I took some profits here, and I more or less leave my stop loss at break even because this is why I trade spot. I mean, if price there is this, what was it? I can't remember actually, but there is this. Yeah, we have some hidden liquidity here. So I don't want to trail my stop loss because it's very possible that we just take this liquidity here. And then I don't want to get stopped out and think about, oh, should I re-enter again? This is why I take profits on my spot plays at higher time frame premium and at this major resistance here, at this supply, which I showed you. And I'm very relaxed because I already locked in some gains. Should I be stopped at break even? I can always decide to re-enter. I can always decide to buy some more in this big demand. This depends on so many different things, and I have to see what's going on once we hit these levels. So I can't tell yet. So I don't want to have my stop spot somewhere up here, and then I get stopped out, and then, oh, this higher time frame move isn't done yet, and all that stupid stuff. But I definitely always lock in some gains at the premium and at the supply. And what I really like to do for spot is once these. Could you mute yourself, mister? If this is not a question, this would be nice. If such aggressive moves break, I have a good example on Doge actually. On ETH it's not so clean, or I didn't do it here, I just TP'd. Oh, this is actually full of crap. Yeah, this one. Okay, so we have a similar area here on Doge, but as you can see, it's not as clean as on Ethereum. This is why people usually have some more struggles trading different altcoins. And this is why I always recommend to just focus on a few coins and learn their structure in and out. But we have more or less the same area. This is a big supply area. And there's this weekly order block. And we have a big reaction from here. And I mean, it's not in the not completely at the equilibrium, but it's still going up. And also, as we know, altcoins depend on bigger altcoins or Bitcoin on majors. So there was a case to be made to TP here and also TP here, also a big supply area. But what I did here, I was just trying to ride the momentum as far as I can. And as Doge didn't react or didn't retrace very much, I was at this point, I woke up in the morning, I said, okay, good. If we lose this structure here, if we lose this low, I TP. And I always define these TPs as a new risk to reward trade. I say, okay, good. If we lose this low, I'm paying back 2%. If we go to the next supply area, this is still a 14-hour trade. It still makes sense to hold this trade. And then we didn't lose this structure. We went higher from here and more aggressive, even more aggressive. The steeper the angle gets, the less sustainable it gets. And once we lost this here with this close, I closed the rest. And it was a good decision because I made 18% more. And the risk to reward into the supply, which I marked here, was actually quite bad. So to say, I'm gonna hold this position for a little longer. It's actually in the 15-minute. But this is advanced stuff. I would always recommend to just TP, lock in some gains. Don't get greedy. And we lost this here. And then there is the question, where is my, because here it was quite obvious, if we lose this low, the structure points down. Here it gets a little more difficult. If I put my stop loss down here, it's already 4%, and here it's not so clean. So I just said, okay, the trend is breaking, the uptrend is breaking, the risk to reward into the supply is bad. We already hit the supply. There's really no reason to try to milk this trade even higher. And so I said I TP here, and I took out 35% for 18% more than I would have done here using this strategy. But as said, this is a little more advanced. If you're not used to lower time frame trading, I would not recommend doing this. Just look for the most obvious supply, especially on majors, because on majors usually it's a little cleaner. And it hit TP here. Now it went back all the way to this area, back to my entry actually, but I didn't cut because I've still got the same base case. And as you can see, it's so much more difficult to trade these altcoins, because on Ethereum we are still up here. On Doge we came all the way back to this demand. I still believe that way higher targets are possible, and I've not cut my bag yet. If we lose this structure, I mean, we have the next level down here, so I'm just adding. Doge is really one of my very high conviction plays, but if we lose this demand here, if we lose this structure at 9 cents, really high time frame close, this is my hard invalidation, and as you can see, this is 50% away, so you need nerves of steel for altcoins, and most are probably better off to just trade easier altcoins, more or less, like Ethereum. And yeah, the approach varies from altcoin to altcoin, but as you can see, the area here is a lot cleaner. We're still trading up here. There's no reason to think about cutting this. There's no reason to think, oh, I round tripped all of my gains or just TP 35%. This is just the reality of high time frame spot trading, especially the lower the volume of your altcoin, the harder it gets. The more volatile it is, the harder it gets. Did you sell heavily at 75k, played mainly futures, or letting spot ride? Yes, I said I've TP'd a bit. My ETH bag is basically not very big anyway. I've high conviction plays like Doge. What indicators are you using? Volume. I use volume. I use the VWAP sometimes for scalping. I've not too much data yet, so I don't share it. I have some indicators, hidden liquidity, which some nice guy gifted me. I think you know him by now, because I shared it with some guys in the group for a beta test, and so he said I can keep it, and it's actually quite helpful. And I said volume is very important in my opinion, and sometimes the VWAP, and you could also call this an indicator, the volume range profile. I use this as well, even though it's not loading right now. How do you log your spot plays, especially if you accumulated at different levels, every buy a different trade, or track the average price of what your stop loss levels positions are accumulated? Average price, definitely average price, and this is so if I, for example, look to buy here and my stop loss is hard invalidation 20%, my risk should not exceed 5% for higher time frame optimal levels. So I try to accumulate. The deeper I go into the level, the more I buy, and yeah, in the end, it's my average, and from the average, the stop loss and the amount of money I can lose, which is my how I define my risk, or the size of the play. Yeah, it's definitely not linear, and in my opinion, playing higher time frame swing plays is a whole different game than playing perps, because on perps usually you look for a quick TP and remove the risk, and on spot you usually wait weeks where nothing is happening. Then you have a short amount of explosive movement, usually into a supply where you should TP, because usually most of the time there's another big time frame where nothing is happening, and you once this happens and you're not TP'd, you probably think, oh, what have I done? I should have TP'd and all that, and this is probably gonna make you panic sell or something. And so yeah, it's more a waiting game, and especially in altcoins, it's not so much investing, it's more trading. You should lock in some gains as well, but of course you need to wait a lot longer. And I only play spot at most optimal levels, and as said, I wait for closes, usually higher than daily, even as said weekly. No closes below the swing low. And so this is no break of structure, this is just one big range. And so what I do here is TP at the 0.5 and TP at the range high. And if it breaks out, that's great. Then I have to determine price discovery targets, but this is a whole different story. In the end, it's more range trade. And should it break out, that's good. But I will have TP'd here. I will have TP'd in this area. And then I see how far I can trail it. And after we break, for example, after we break this high, my stop loss will at least be somewhere in this area, and I trail a lot more aggressive because price discovery usually is either going extremely violent up in crypto, or it's retracing quite quick, and then nothing is happening again after a big bloodbath. Okay, guys, 15 minutes left. Bring all your questions if you got some left. You're welcome. And yeah, this is what I meant in the beginning. You want to have different strategies for different time frames. And if you really study and backtest and collect data, you will see that some strategies just don't work on certain assets or on certain time frames. So you really want to come up with something else that really works in the end. And here, prime example for, I mean, I didn't buy spot down here, but if I would have TP'd at these highs, this is why Bitcoin trading is oftentimes a lot easier, because the structure is a lot cleaner. You see the supply, this is usually where you should TP. On a leveraged position, you should already TP probably here, with a stop loss to break even. Next TP here, even though price pushed higher, at this time you think, oh damn, why did I TP? But if price goes down, we try probabilities as you know, if price goes down, you think, oh damn, yes, I took TPs, and then if price comes back here, you say, oh damn, I should have taken more TPs, but you cannot know in beforehand. Nobody knows. We all trade probabilities, we all just manage risk, so there is no perfect solution. So the next big TP is here, and the same thing happens in this small little range. We have a nuke into a key level, even though this one down here got front run. We have a reaction. I TP'd here. I actually added back. Now I TP'd again at this supply, and I will TP at the high again. I expect some kind of swing failure pattern. And if this breaks down, my hard stop for the small one is here. A big TP on the big one is there, but it's soft. I'm gonna look at the close. So if this closes here, so if this one hits here, the small one will be closed, and I will probably, depending on order flow and all that, will probably TP on the big one as well. But I won't close the big one completely, because if this hits and goes up, I add some profits back, but I'm still in the bigger one. Will there be a lesson on how to properly backtest? Yes, for sure, we can do that. We can include everything you need and you want, because the classroom which we will set up is designed for you and for your interests. So if you guys want to see how to backtest, we of course do that. We have not included it in the basic course for now, but I will write it down because this is actually a pretty good idea. But backtesting is actually quite simple. There's a lot of good software for that. You can also do it on TradingView. We use TradeSeller for that, but it's not free. But yeah, backtesting is a really good thing because it's almost like playing a video game and you eliminate all the painful waiting time and you can trade 20 trades over a whole month, and this will eliminate the waiting time asset, and you will collect a lot of experience. It will give you confidence and all that, and you can also backtest your strategy because, as I wrote before on Twitter, many people use a strategy that they don't even understand. Yeah, of course, we all know what a breaker block is now, what a hidden order block is, all that. But do you really understand how it works and on what asset it works best, on what time frame it works best, what needs to be happening for this to work best? And all of these things you can figure out with backtesting very quick and without losing a lot of money. How many times do you advise us to backtest an asset? Yeah, I mean, there is no clear rule for that. Backtesting not only helps you to understand how the asset is behaving and what strategy works best, it also helps you to gain to gain confidence and to gain experience in a very short amount of time and to collect a lot of data for a certain asset. So you could do it every day. I know that Albert does it every day for 1 hour. I'm not as consistent with doing that, but I'm also right now on vacation, so I probably will start doing it more often when I'm back home again. But as said, yeah, there is no certain number, but let's imagine you backtest every day for 1 hour, and after 2 months, you feel so confident, you just know how this edge works, and you don't feel the urge to, for example, backtest the money tower strategy on Bitcoin anymore because you just understand how it works, and you just know from now on, you just need to wait. The only big difference between backtesting and normal trading is you cannot lose money, you will be not as emotional, and it will go a lot faster. So if you go to a real account in real time, you will have to wait very long, very, very long. And if you, for example, your day win rate is 50%, like you win 50% of all your trading days, you can imagine that when backtesting is a losing day is not as bad because the next day is like in 15 seconds if you go for 10x forward, fast forward. But if you wait a whole day and you have a losing day, that's usually where people fuck it up. And this is what the data tells you. If your trading edge has a 50% day win, usually the other 50% are the days where you fuck it up because you have to wait so long and then you want to trade and then you do something stupid. So this is to be considered. But if you feel confident and if you know how the edge works, you can apply it on a real asset. This is usually how traders develop their strategies and their edge. All great traders did that because you cannot come up with it. Of course you can, but it goes a lot faster if you backtest. We have a proven profitable strategy, so we can't just trade it. But as said, you will gain a lot more confidence in your strategy and know when to use it if you do a lot a lot of backtesting. Yeah, I enjoy my vacation actually quite well. But the weather is bad anyway, so I said, okay, let's get some work done today. Like 100 different setups in mid time frame, 100 different setups in low time frame. Yeah, it depends on what you want to learn. If you want to become a scalper on the 1 minute, you should trade a lot of backtest a lot of lower time frame stuff. And as many of you have probably seen, backtesting on trading on low time frame is a lot different than on higher time frame. And you might as well want to tweak your edge a little bit and include some things and exclude some things. And with backtesting, you can figure this out. Yeah, anytime, Benjamin. My pleasure. Nick Dino, could you please mute the microphone? Yeah, exactly, Big Nels. That's exactly it. Wise words, wieso wise words? Can you show us how you have your watch list structured? Oh, I'm not quite sure if this is a good idea, but yeah, I can show you. It's I guess there are many people who have a lot more structured watch lists than me, but I can show you, of course. And don't think just because I have some assets in this that I'm trading all of that. I've just collected a whole lot of crap over the years. I have different Bitcoin charts for different ideas and for different volume stuff. Of course, the CME chart, ETH the same, XRP, Doge. These are all my active ones, even though I'm not active on all of them. The lower ones I usually spot place. Pip is not active at all. There are some spot buys and some ideas with some new stuff I try to trade, or a new strategy more or less, and I try which assets it works best on. And then there's a whole lot of crap, high volume stuff, which I collected over the years. Then I have some low volume crap, which I don't look at it anymore. And then I have a lot of unactive stuff. So usually my watch list is just these assets, and I trade mainly Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, sometimes XRP, but I don't like it at all. Since lately I have the ordi chart here because this level is gifting me a lot of money here. Then I have a scalping. What's the name of this again? Layout, which is also something I've not shared yet so much because I have not so much data collected and I don't want to share something I'm not fully behind. There's a lot of momentum stocks which are quite aggressive in movement, which I can apply the strategy to. Then I have some active stuff, some spot buys, some trades I have running. I have the interesting narratives watch list, which I also shared with the premium section with very interesting stocks companies which might have a great future or at least pump, which is either way okay for me. I have commodities here, which I don't use too much, but it's always, I don't trade too much, but it's always good to know what oil and gold are doing and silver, in my opinion, because these assets are more than just shitcoins. And then I have two top tabs open with macro, some strength indexes, dominance charts, total, and some indices back in the days, but when I don't trade it, stocks itself, commodities, it's all here. Usually I had only this. Now I have different tabs for this, all this stuff. But yeah, as said, my watch is not so structured, and even though there are many assets on it, I usually most of what I do every day is here, and during volatile movements, I check my spot bags, of course, if it's time to TP or cut the bag or add or whatever. But I usually only trade Ethereum, Bitcoin, Doge, sometimes XRP. What's your thoughts on B-Wall near high time frame support? Do you expect Bitcoin to up or possibly large drop? Not sure how to read B-Wall. Um, yeah, I don't like to talk in large drop or big pump terms, but there is definitely something to observe, and you can observe it for yourself. That every time we hit the supply or the demand here, something important is happening, a major inflection point in the chart. But this is something you should do for yourself because first of all, I can't predict the future either, and second of all, if you want to understand it, it's always best to do it yourself. But if you just on the first look, August 24, March 25, or let's say February, March. So yeah, always a big inflection point. This is all I can say. Could you please mute your microphone, Nick Dino? Or if you have a question, you can always ask, of course. Also, you can speak to me, guys. But if it's just background noises, please mute yourself. Yeah, what I struggle a lot is keeping up with all my setups, especially when I scalp FX. I'm not working full time and often forget about my setups when I'm waiting for confirmation. Any tips for that? There's a pretty simple advice, and Hotstock already nailed it. Trade less charts. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Just trade less charts. If you don't have the time, if you're not a full-time trader, even more than all other people that trade full-time, but also for people who have a lot of time, it's better to focus on a few assets like 1, 2, 3 for each market. And for Forex, I would, for example, just go for 1 or 2, backtest them, know what works, know what doesn't, and just trade them. Master a few charts is a lot better than trading 20 different ones at the same time and forgetting this one, and then you get alarm for this one, and then you get hectic or you get FOMO and then you do stupid stuff. So there's really no advantage in trading too many charts at once. Focus on a few, know them in and out, know what they react on, and then you're sorted. Exactly. Why bother trading 1,000 assets? Because if you split your focus, and focus is one of the most important resources we have as traders, um, usually it doesn't lead to better results. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And usually, and also, if you just trade crypto, where is the advantage in having look at what's the advantage in look when you look at 10 different charts and get 10 different alarms at the same level? Because it's moving in synchronicity anyway. 9 out of 10 charts moving together. So there's really no advantage, not even one advantage. Yeah, there is order flow stuff for funding rate. There is no funding rate, as far as I know. There is some kind of swap fee and all that, but you can have a look at delta, CVD, volume, all that. It's actually more precise than on crypto, because on crypto you have 10 different exchanges which are all highly manipulated because it's an unregulated market, so they can do whatever they want. If you trade, for example, a stock, you have just one exchange, usually the Nasdaq or whatever, and then you just look at this one exchange. You have one very accurate volume data, because they cannot, yeah, as said, do the same things as in an unregulated market. But be aware, some things were completely different than on crypto, because as I said, crypto is not regulated, and so they do very strange stuff. And if you learned it with crypto, on stocks sometimes it's even completely the other way around. Where can I find all the information about the course? We will release some more informations if we have them ready, because as I said, we want to launch in two weeks. And we will release a information paper somewhere next week, I guess. Okay, guys. So if you have any important questions left, You have 5 minutes left. I see somebody is still typing. If not, I would wrap the stream up here. And I hope I could help you. It was a pleasure and nice to see so many new faces and so many people in the stream. I think that's the biggest stream we ever did. Yeah, the course will include live videos, PDFs, charts, all that. Yeah, you're all welcome. It's my pleasure. It was nice talking to you or answering your questions. And I wish you all a great week ahead. Let's pray for some volatility. And other than that, happy trading, guys. Bye bye.